Hello and welcome to the Code Maven channel. My name is Gabor Sabo, and then in this video, what we are going to do, in this meeting, what we are going to do is we are going to work on writing tests or writing specifications with Test BDD Cucumber. With me is Erik Hülsmann. Hi, Erik.
Hi, Gabor. I'm Erik Hülsmann. As you said, I'm the current maintainer of the Test BDD Cucumber module. And I took over from Peter Sargent some time ago because I actually needed a module as I'm also the lead developer of the Ledger SMB project, and we needed a way to test the web application part of the application. The Ledger SMB is an accounting application.
So you're the maintainer of that project as well. Okay, interesting.
Yes.
We could have a separate session on that as well, if you'd like, just to work on that as a pair programming project.
Thank you.
Okay.
But today we'll be talking about Test BDD Cucumber, and I just wanted to explain that it's actively being developed as well as being used quite intensively. Okay,
great. And by the way, are you an employee somewhere or self-employed?
Yes, no, well, I was self-employed. I'm very little bit self-employed still because I do a little bit consulting at the side, but I'm now an employee at a large bank in the Netherlands at the moment. And my main day job is being an IT architect, so the overview of the IT systems all in all, with two more colleagues. Yeah.
Good. Okay, so what we discussed a little bit earlier is that what we're going to do is there is this project that I started to work on with Mark Gardner, writing in Modulicious, a web application that basically I need for managing my students when I run a course, and there's going to be an open source application, so it's on GitHub as well. And although we have already started to write the application, we haven't written any of the test cases. And actually, even though I wrote down some specification, some ideas basically of what I would like to have, it might be better to write down explicitly these ideas using Test BDD Cucumber, and then at the same time we can also see how to use Test BDD Cucumber, right?
Absolutely.
So
yes, and I think the BDD way of specifying test cases is a very powerful way because it basically makes a very strong link to the end user or the person who is specifying the behaviors, and on the other hand, it makes for a very practical executed possibility to execute test code behind it. So yeah, we should be able to help you think along the lines of what you want from your application on one hand, and on the other hand, be able to work out some very practical tests based on that.
Yeah. So it's interesting that it's called Test BDD Cucumber because the people I follow who talk about BDD, they often say that BDD is not testing. And sort of my understanding is also now that BDD is a lot more about the communication between the client, let's say, the customers, or whoever represents the customers, and the developers, and basically all the team. So to facilitate that, the idea of BDD and Cucumber is to facilitate this discussion, and then to make it and then to come up with some text that is on one hand readable to the business people or the clients. Okay, so it's in an English, very simplified English, or maybe other languages, but in their own language, on the human language. But that it's simplified to the level that it can be converted into actual executable tests.
Exactly. So there's a bit of specification there's a bit of a requirement to the actual sentences used, but the sentences look very, very close to real English or real language.
Yeah. So before I started to deal with this module, my understanding was that it's just, oh, the business people are going to write it. But I always thought that, okay, in order to make it compilable or they won't be able to write it, because they will, just the way they behave, they will want to work different, will want to use different words to describe the same thing, because this is what we learned in literature class, that it's nicer to have alternative words.
So the closest you'll get to the business writing a BDD test, I would say, is a business analyst. Right, the person who would normally write down the requirements, he would be able to help you with that, or maybe a tester, not a real coder, but a tester on your team will be able to write them and be able to verify them with the business in terms of requirements, obligations and stuff like that. But what they also help me do is, when I write them, I'm now an architect, but I've been writing a lot of software for this company as well. When I wrote my software, I would go to the business and I would write out a number of test cases, and so a number of BDD requirement sets. And then usually after a little bit of a discussion, I would agree that these were good specifications. And then I would go on and say, okay, but these leave open a number of questions. And then from there on, we would open the discussion of the unspecified behavior and add that to the requirements as well.
Okay, so let me share first of all, or not even first of all, but I just wanted to say that I'm really glad that you joined me in this session, because earlier I was trying to figure out myself, and well, it takes time to understand the whole concept of BDD. As simple as Cucumber basically is, or seems to be, the whole concept and how to work, how to use this is different from what I've been doing earlier. So let me share did you want to say something?
Well, yeah, we at the Ledger SMB project, we've been using it twofold. One, to be able to communicate to customers or users of the project what actually is the behavior of the application. On the other hand, these sentences also make a very descriptive shorthand for initialization code and other code that is running behind the scenes, so that I was getting these extremely long .t files, which were doing all kinds of setup, and then I felt the need to start modularizing that, and it became even more and more and more code. And in the end, it was so much work to develop all that and to maintain it, that it's almost a project on its own, and it didn't feel very accessible anymore. So that's where I was very happy to find Test BDD Cucumber, in order to be able to actually more live and more get a more concise and short and overviewable version of my test case. So I'm using it twofold.
Nice. Okay, so let me share my screen, and then we can go from there. So what I have here is this, not this, sorry, we are here. Wrong window. This one. Okay. So this is the web page where I wrote down the plan for that project. So I have some textual explanation here, and there on this web page. So I actually going to share the link here in case you'd like to go there yourself. There is the link to the Git repository where the source code of this project lives. But if I switch to my terminal, it's also here. Okay. Yeah. So we can't see much here. This is a modular issues project already here. It doesn't have any. Actually, it has a test, but it's, I think, okay. So even the one test that we have fails. Okay, whatever, I don't know. We have to check that later on. We haven't touched the tests, I think, at all during we were trying to explore how to write anything with modular issues, and the idea is try to combine, and we haven't wrote any tests for that. Okay. So now
Okay.
it's your turn. Tell me what to do.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we can start twofold. First, we can start writing a first feature. BDD tests are built up of features, and the idea is that each feature describes what you can basically implement in a sprint, right? It's all about facilitating the agile process. So a feature would be something that you can quickly implement, and that there are a number of scenarios. It's each feature is built up of scenarios. That scenarios describe the various behaviors of that feature. So if you say, I would like to, maybe the idea of creating a course will be where you start building your application anyway, right? So being able to create a course might be your first feature in your application. Would that be it?
Okay, let me give you a little background of how I thought about this. So
yes,
all the part of the admin interface would be just the CLI. Okay, so let's say defining what is the course. I just create a JSON file, and that's, or YAML file or whatever, and that describes the course, and that describes a list of exercises that the students have to submit, and then maybe I'll mark them. So everything that's just files. And then the web interface is that where the students can see they can log in, they can see the list of exercises they have to do, which are actually just links to other places. Each exercise is just a link to some place where it's actually explained. So the exercises are, the actual text of the exercise is located elsewhere. And then they can upload an exercise, a solution to the exercise. And then the other part and then my admin part, or my GUI part, is that I, as the administrator or the teacher, can respond to the uploaded solution. So I can mark them, okay, accepted, or I can type in some text and that's gonna be somehow sent to them. Or I would also want to prepare some comments, because I noticed that these are beginner students, so I give the same comment to many people, exactly the same comment. Okay, write more shorter functions, or write functions, or whatever, or use longer variable names, or this. So I would prefer to be able to prepare these responses and not to type it again and again the same thing.
Okay, yeah.
Basically, I think that's it.
So maybe the first behavior in the web interface then would be a student trying to log in, right?
Yeah. So you say,
or maybe you.
We have. I also need to be able to log in, and the student, and my idea was that I don't want to manage passwords, at least not for the students. So they will type in their email address, which is listed already in this JSON file, that they are participating in the course, and then they will get an email with some code, and then they can use that code to access the content. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. So maybe we can describe that part, or the easier part will be for you to log in. So the BDD application, BDD works with one feature description per file.
Okay.
So in the Ledger SMB project, we have like 40 features described now, and we've categorized them into basic, operation, and more specific operation. I don't know how many features we'll be talking about. I see only 20 bullets, so maybe we can start out with just top level files. Then what we do there's a proof integration for Test BDD Cucumber. So you can drive all the tests from proof, and that means that you can store the feature files, which then will be executed by proof. in T or in XT, usually they'll be part of the author testing, especially when you need a specific setup for where the application gets started, and you have to have a web Selenium tests, that kind of stuff requires a specific setup and environment. So we've put them into the author tests XT.
Lately, I stopped using XT for author text actually, because and then I keep forgetting. So I just put everything in T and then use maybe environment variables to control that, whether it's executed.
That works as well. Yeah. So
here we are. Okay. Before we get started, let me just do this. Comment out this one.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, just so we will have a clean
test. Yeah. So the first step then would be to have a look at maybe what would be the easiest thing to start addressing would you think in terms of
so these logins, I guess logins would be fine.
Yeah, logins would be fine. Okay, so let's start with a feature file which we call t/login.feature.
So it comes here like directly here.
Yeah,
login,
I mean,
okay.
If we stick to maybe, yeah.
That's it.
If they're just 20 features, then that's fine, right? If it's more in the end, we may need to categorize them into a hierarchy or something like that.
Okay.
So what you begin with, if you're writing this, I'm assuming we're writing this in English, but if you were not writing this in English, you would start with a command line specifying a language. Okay. There are lots of languages available. Mm-hmm. But if we start in English, then the first line could be, well.
Let's be explicit about being in English.
Sorry?
Let's be explicit about it being in English.
Okay, so then it's a hash for a command line, and then language, and then a colon. Yes, en. Yes. Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. En. So it's the ISO code. Yeah.
Okay.
And then from there so now we have explicitly specified that we want it to be in English, and which means that we can use the feature keyword now to specify what this feature is about. Feature. Yes, and then colon. Well, it's I think it should be case insensitive, but this works best.
Okay.
And then we have a header line, so it's a summary of the feature.
So it's just free text here, right?
It's free text, yes.
Okay. You student login.
Yeah, and if you want, you can type enter on the next line. If you indent it a little bit. Here you could make a longer description of what this feature is about. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll fill that out later on. Yeah, and you can have as many paragraphs as you want. So then the next step is, okay, so if you have one more empty line, then we go on to the actual content of the feature. Which is a scenario. So we define a scenario. Yes, and then what would be the first? Well, let's navigate to the student login and verify that we have specific fields to our availability. So the student login page lists email address.
An empty box for an email address.
Yes.
So shall I just write it down, free text?
Yeah, it's free text again.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay. Same as before, you can actually have multiple paragraphs to detail the scenario.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I think that's very powerful when you want to explain the features and the scenarios to the business, right? To the business people.
Okay. Yeah.
So then the actual program execution, the actual specification starts on the next line.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Here?
so this,
Yes, an empty row here, or what?
You can have an empty row. You can have empty rows everywhere. You can also have comment lines everywhere if you want to.
Okay.
So if you want to temporarily disable a line, you can just comment it out.
Just a second. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
No, I'll just disable the phone.
Okay,
Yeah.
that works.
Okay. Sorry for that.
No problem. So there's actually 3 options to start to have on any given line, which is a given key. A line of specification should start with the given keyword or with the when keyword or the then keyword.
Okay.
Yes. And actually it's not followed by a colon. So there's just regular text behind it. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. Well, the given is basically the test setup part.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have multiple given lines.
Yeah.
And
it's basically the fixture in the test cases, right? So
yes.
If you're okay.
Yeah. So in Ledger SMB, for example, what we do is given an administrative user, but maybe this test doesn't need an administrative user yet.
No.
So I'm not sure if it needs a given.
I don't know
we assume a running application, but I'm thinking that's basically paramount to any testing at all. So yeah.
If you're talking about fixtures,
yes,
then yes. So I have to, when I'm going to write the test, I'll have to start the application before I can log in. Maybe, I don't know, maybe this can be some global explanation of the global given. I don't know. I probably.
Yeah. So that's another. Well, yeah, we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
There is a per feature global specification part, but we can get to that in a bit.
Okay.
However, that global specification part gets run on every scenario, so that it doesn't help us much in starting up beforehand.
Okay.
So given a running application, and then, well, what we want to do is we want to navigate to the student login page, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the test.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, well, we expect to see. Yeah, we see a text box labeled yeah. Okay. Yes, we can do it this way. We can do it this way. What I usually do is make that 2 lines, because then we can probably reuse the implementation of the exactly. We can reuse the implementation of the idea of the concept of checking the page for an element.
Yeah.
So then the and would be and see a button, because it still uses the same.
So here it comes the idea of, okay, on one hand, I would be writing some broken English. Other people would write a better English with more selected words and different ways. But because it will be compiled, you have to stick to some relatively simple format of. So
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, the little experience I had with Cucumber, I thought, okay, I could write a regex something that will understand this or this, but that will just make the whole process part more complex. So the one
Yes.
that compiles this, and a lot more error prone, because then maybe someone can write something in the middle and one of them will catch it. And
exactly, yeah. So you could easily get overlapping regexes if you don't
now
have.
I have to write n here or e.
Yeah, you can. Well, the regex, in the end we specify a regex, so we can have we can specify that there's a or an.
Yeah.
And empty is optional anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what happens when this is executed is that there's a scenario, and the scenario starts with a given, and the given is matched against some implementation in which is a Perl, a little Perl function we still have to specify. And that Perl function can be used to set up the fixture in the test case.
Okay.
So then it goes on. If that succeeds successfully, then it continues to execute, to parse and execute the when line. So it says when we navigate to the student login page, then it will need to give some meaning to that using what's called a step function, which is the Perl function which will help us navigate, likely through some Selenium tests. And if that works successfully, then it goes on to assert to the assertions then. And there are actually two thens, but the one then is hidden behind the end. So then we see an empty text box labeled email, and it will need to specify, we'll need to give meaning to that using a Selenium test as well. So it will need to inspect the visible elements in the DOM to see whether there's an email labeled text box. When that succeeds, it proceeds to the next line, which is we see a button labeled login, which could basically be using the same implementation to find an element on the page, which is then of the type button, and it has a different label. Yeah. And when that all completes successfully, the test reports success improve.
Okay.
And there are two ways to execute this. There's a tool, there's a proof integration, and there is the Firkin binary, which is Gherkin for Perl, and Gherkin is the language that we're specifying this in. So it's not. Yeah. The Firkin tool has a bit more readable output. I think it also shows exactly which lines are being matched and which ones aren't. And as we said before, I'm not sure we said it within the training, but we discussed it before. The idea is to write the tests even before you develop the application. So at the start of a sprint in Agile, you may be sitting down with business people and working out what is really required in order to get a feature developed. And this is what helps that process. So the tool understands that you start out with an empty list of mappings between this specification and the actual test. The Firkin tool will give a visual differentiation for non-implemented steps, and it will just show that the steps haven't been implemented yet.
So you say we can actually
without failure.
Yeah. So we can run this now with the Firkin tool, right?
Yes, we can run this now. Yeah.
So I'll just write Firkin.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes, and then oh, it's not in your path. Sorry about the phone. Sorry about the phone in the background.
Oh, that's your side. I thought it's here.
No, it's on my side, but I'll leave it ringing and then it will stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we live in a phone world. Yeah, what can we do?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought everything is installed, but I probably just replaced Perl and then I don't have it anymore. So now it's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not finding anything in features. That's okay because it's in T.
Okay.
So then the invocation is Firkin T / yeah, that will be it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's a bit unreadable because it has a default of dark background on light letters. So there's a theme argument which we can specify.
Well,
So
okay.
the color is geared towards yeah. Actually, it needs to be before the directory specification. Yeah, is light, I think.
Interesting. I think it's light now. Oh,
yeah, but it's
there was
printing
more text here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now you get, yeah, it's rendering all the text. So now you actually get to see that.
Okay.
It was rendering it in light gray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, I don't see it here, but oh, now I can highlight it here. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's strange. Okay, there is also this warning about some term color.
Yes. Well, I'll have a look at that because it's obviously not what I want.
Yeah. Okay. I'll copy paste that for you in case.
Thank you.
Okay. So what are we doing now? Okay, it's a
so what you see now is that there's
more, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is scenario, and then.
And those are all golden, rendering golden, and it means that there's no availability of a step to map that against a against an expectation. So what we would do now is we create a new directory inside T, which is called step definitions. Step, let me check.
I can cheat. Test BDD Cucumber, because the source code is here, and
let's cheat.
So it's the features and step definitions.
It's step definitions, yes. Okay, that's good. So inside step definitions,
I wrote, I think, correctly.
Yeah.
And so in the inside, in the example, there is a Perl script.
Yes, there can be as many Perl scripts as you want. They will
Does
all
the
be
name
loaded.
any matter, or?
No, not at all.
So now I can put in T step definitions courses. Okay.
Yeah. And there are some requirements to this file. So we need to load a module, which is use test BDD Cucumber. And then, no, yeah, it's yet another one, step file.
I can cheat also.
Yeah, it's step file.
Yeah, this is, you know what? I'll just pick up copy the file. This is an example file from the source code, and I'll go ahead and copy these ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, and the test more is because it's writing tests, right?
Exactly. So we'll be using the test more library and framework to provide our to help out with the assertions.
Okay.
Actually, it can be test 2 as well, but this works perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
So the next step would be to write maybe the first the driver function for the fixture. Then what we can do here is enter a new line and start with the given keyword in a capital. Yep. Then we specify a regex, so there's a QR. Yep. And then a running application, right? Given a running application, we had that.
Okay.
Which is the text of the step.
So wait a second. This is the step, right? I guess we have to match this one, this text. So exactly. I put here that if it's matching this, I just copy pasted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then the next, so then there's a second argument. Given is actually a function. So there's to the next argument, there's we need yes. There's the next is a code block. So it's a sub. Yep. Exactly like that. And well, you can do in a sub whatever you need to do to create a running application.
Okay, so I'll just comment it. Start the web application. Okay, I don't know yet what we are going to do there.
Exactly. So if you now go back to the Firkin invocation.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
On the terminal, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
We did something wrong because it still says it doesn't match the given a running application step.
Right.
Which is incorrect. Then what did we do wrong?
So it doesn't have to end with steps. The file. I think I saw that.
Yes, it does. Sorry.
Okay.
So these are the course steps, indeed.
Okay, so I'll quit this one. Git status, and then T step definitions, and I rename it to B steps, right?
Yes.
Steps. Okay.
Okay, now it should work.
Yeah. Okay, now it's green.
Yes, because it's
okay.
Yeah, it's successfully executing, as in it's not failing.
Yeah. Something matched it.
Something matched it, and there was no reported failure. So there was no exception thrown. There was no. So you could throw an exception if you want.
So let's say die X. And then I try to run this, and then it doesn't like it.
And then it doesn't like it. So it shows then that the application, the step is not running successfully, and is actually failing.
Okay.
And if you do an OK 0, it also fails.
Okay. Okay 0. So if there is some test code there.
Yeah.
Then it fails it. Okay, and because it says the testing fails. Okay.
Yeah, it says not okay. Exactly.
Yeah.
But the code ran to completion. So
there is an okay 2.
There were 2 steps, and yes, the step 2 tested okay, because there's always a step that the tests run to completion, and that's a built-in check, and that check is okay because it did run to completion.
I don't put here done testing or things like this.
No, that's built in.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. So then, in the same way, we can say when we navigate to the student login page, we can go on to implement a when.
So I guess here I need something like this here as well.
Yep.
And I need to match this line.
Exactly.
And for now, I guess I'll just copy paste this one because this is the only thing we need to check.
Right. Yeah, and maybe
the
later
only
on
thing
you
that
want.
we need to match.
Yeah, and maybe later on you want to have a login into the admin page, and you can reuse in part this step. So what would be interesting now if we could make the student login.
So let's say we have an application here, which for now is undef. Okay, later on we'll have to somehow create it. So how can I use the application here? Because I'll guess here I have to do something up get login. Okay, I'm just writing some pseudo code that I'm going to comment out, but obviously this doesn't work because it's local here. It's
exactly. So you have, and that's where you need you need a different context. You need something which is attached to the scenario execution and which remains during the scenario execution, but which is cleared after the execution stops, and which gets set up cleanly on every iteration.
Yeah.
So there are two functions in all of this, which are created and imported into the package. When you use test BDD Cucumber step file, and they're the functions capital C and capital S.
Okay.
And capital C is the step context.
Like C and S.
Yes.
Okay.
And S, the function S returns a reference to a stash.
And this is what context, sorry?
The step context.
Scenario context.
The step context.
Ah, step context. Okay. So we put it on the stash now, right?
Yes. Yes.
So,
we
do something like S
app
equal to $app, just in the other direction.
Yes. So, exactly.
And then here I can use the S. It looks similar, the $sign, and okay, so I can use this one, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And at the end of the scenario execution, the stash gets cleared, so you have to start from the beginning again.
Okay, that's good. And I guess here I'll check here something. I can check here, even though it's not officially the test. Officially the test is what's in the then part.
Yes.
All right, that's what we are checking. This is only the setup. So if I put any OK statements here and here too, now I'm going to make it pass, then these are going to be just checking if the setup worked properly.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. But and if you fail a test during given or during when, then it will skip further steps in that scenario and simply fail the scenario.
Okay. So let's try to run this now. Okay, 2 greens and 2 whatever goldens left.
Yeah. Exactly.
So now we have the then part. So I guess we can just copy paste this one, right? And create a then.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting into it. So I guess I can have something like this.
Yep.
That's a reasonable regular
expression. Like that. And this one is interesting. Yeah.
So here, well, let's just think about it. This one is going to return a response object. And then I guess I put the response object also here.
Yeah.
And of course, now I'm going to comment this out because there's no code yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then here I can get as response, and let's say status is 200, right? So I'm going to put something like this here.
Yeah.
Assuming that there is a status method that will return the HTTP status code there.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And what's interesting here is that you can make this step, you can make it a little bit more general. Maybe you want to use this step for text boxes not labeled email as well, but with other labels.
But before we go there, let me just have the positive feedback of 3 greens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So now we have.
Good.
Good.
There it is. So yeah. So if we can make this a little bit more complex, then we can say, okay, let's match. Let's get out the parameter of the name of the text box.
Yeah, so I'm just copying here for myself to see what is the other text. I'll actually copy both of them here, so it's gonna be easier for me to see
the difference.
The difference and what I need to match.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there is this C. I don't know. How would you write this regular expression to match both of them?
Okay, then
put this in a capture box.
Exactly.
The whole thing. So I guess it's
that in a capture block, because exactly not a quote. Yeah.
Not a quote plus.
Yes.
Okay.
So then we have the
either email or login.
The label, and then we have a text box or a button. So that would be a capture block as well.
It's an empty text box, right?
Yeah.
Or a button.
Exactly. And then there's a question mark at the Yeah. Okay. So we have 2 capture blocks now, and 1 and 2 actually get captured. So
okay,
you should have the availability of 1 and 2 in this block.
So
during the then execution.
Okay, first of all, everything is nicely colored now, so regexes work properly. And so how do I get the $1, $2 here?
Yeah, you have the $1, $2 to your availability. So it's $1 is the empty text box or the button, and the $2 is the label name.
So this is element.
Yeah.
And this is
label name. The label.
Label.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So can I let's say print this out, diag element. This one doesn't show it.
No, yeah, that's
different thing. Yeah. Okay.
That's something for further development.
So it will print out the diag messages. Fairkin?
Well, the entire tab stream is being captured and forwarded through some other means to the Cucumber interpreter. So there's a Perl built-in Cucumber interpreter, and the actual the tab stream is captured and formatted using a different harness than the tab harness usually is using. So that's the term caller warning. Okay. So the diag does get printed to the tab stream, but the tab stream is not including that in your output. I need to think how to do that.
Okay. So then I guess here we'll have something that I have a response object, and then let's say, and somehow I have to figure out from the object. No, for now we have to, here I do something like, So I have S response content, and then on this content I do some CSS selector for the element and the label. Okay, very pseudocode. Okay, and that should be okay. So it should find
exactly. That should exist.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you're working on the responses now, which is also fine. What I've been doing with the Ledger SMB project is to set up a true browser test and interact with the browser to verify that all this happens correctly. So through Selenium tests.
Yeah, I don't think that we're going to use Selenium for, because there's no JavaScript. So we're going to just use the built-in testing feature of Modulicious.
Okay.
Probably. So I'm not sure exactly. Right?
Yeah, I'll be happy to learn how that works. So I'll be watching your other series then as well.
Yeah, okay. We'll see if we cover. Okay, so now we have this test, and I can run it with proof now, right? Somehow.
Yes, you can. And yeah, you have Test BDD Cucumber installed, right? So it will be in your path now. Yeah.
Now it is.
Okay. We can use the proof integration, which is called feature. So there's a proof.
Oh, I remember that long command that I tried to use. So proof on the test BDD documentation, and then probably it will give me this one, right?
Yes. Proof source feature ext.feature.
And exactly, instead of examples, I'll have to put in T.
Yes, T, exactly.
Okay. Okay, we still get this warning, but now it's, let's put it in variables mode. So here are the given things, given when whatever the scenarios.
Yeah, and it's integrated with proof now.
Okay, but now, so the thing is, okay, because of the X feature, it just runs OR test, not the other one. So there is another test that it's totally skipped now, but it doesn't execute that one. So can I?
Yes.
So you also run both of them, you know?
Yes, you can pass x.t, same as x.feature, and then it will start to run that as well.
Okay.
There you have it.
So now both files are executed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And what's great about proof is that it automatically selects which executor to use, right? Because there's not one executable Perl line in the feature file, but it selects the feature runner, the Firkin runner, to run the feature file, and it uses Perl to run the basic test file.
Okay. I'll have to learn how this I don't know this source thing. Okay.
We're at the Ledger SMB project. We're using various source definitions. So we use feature, we use a regular one, which is Perl, and we use pgtab for database testing.
Okay. So what's next? Okay, git status. Sorry, git status. Let's just commit all these now, right? T. Scenarios. Okay, whatever. Okay, good.
Okay, so what might be next is that we could maybe we want to specify a scenario which is BDD compliant, but it's not yet done. So let's say that this scenario is done, but we want to have another scenario, or maybe we have an extremely long-running scenario, and so we add another scenario to this one, but we don't always want to execute that scenario.
Okay.
In Ledger SMB, we have many work in progress scenarios. So we have.
Well, for us, we don't have this for example, we haven't implemented at all. But shall we continue the next step of the login?
Yeah.
Because
maybe. Yeah. Then what will be the next step?
So the user fills in the email address, clicks on the button, and receives an email with a code.
Yeah.
Should I just write it down?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's good.
Okay. So I guess I still have a running application.
Yeah. You still need to.
So how do now it's like, it's not just when we are on, so we still have to navigate there.
Yeah.
And type in foo at, I guess I have to add some here, foo at codemaven.com in the email box.
Yeah.
And click on login button. Okay.
Yeah, what you could do
then
is,
receive an email with a code.
Exactly.
URL. Okay.
Okay, what you could do is put the fact that you're on the login page, student login page, as a fixture, because that is basically outside of the scope of what you want to test, right?
Yeah, so this it was bothering me that I had to repeat this one. So you can say that this one I move to the given part?
Yeah, yes, we can have an and, given a running application, and we are on the student login page. So something like that, right?
Okay.
Then yes, exactly.
Okay, I can also put this. Okay.
Because that way you put the given side. The given side is the part that shouldn't take too much attention, right?
Yeah. So it looks much more logical than what I wrote earlier.
Yes.
Okay, so now we go back and start implementing the steps.
Yes, and what you could do, what is interesting, I think, because that will be more of the same, basically, in terms of what we're doing in these 2 hours. So what would be interesting is that maybe you want to have categories of scenarios. So some scenarios you want to run sometimes, and other scenarios you want to run other times. For example, we have short running and long running tests.
Yeah. So
at Ledger SMB, we're running now. The tests are now running for over half an hour. If you run all of them, so we're contemplating having the quick ones and having the thorough ones.
here it is. It's actually a very good place because sometimes I would like this to run if there is a. So there are a couple of things here, but if I really want to send an email, then I will have to be able to access that email address, or I need to fake this email. Okay, but let's for now skip this. So I run this test only when I am running it, let's say.
Okay, yeah. So we have a special case scenario where we want to be able to exclude the special case. So Test BDD Cucumber and Cucumber itself offer tags for that. So you can add before the scenario line, you can add a line starting with correctly, and then there's an @ and a series of characters without a space. So maybe it's email available. I don't know. Okay, so now this scenario falls in the category email available.
Okay, let's just a second. Sorry, I would like to run this one to see what's going on. Okay, so it matched the given the running application, but not the rest. Okay, and now I put this one.
Yeah,
and
it still runs it.
Still the same thing.
But now you can exclude it on the command line. So if you list the command correct, and then we add an extra option. It's tags -- tags, and then what is it? Tilde. That, and then there's the @ and email available.
Shouldn't these be like in quotes or something? Is all these strange characters?
No, yeah, I think it should work. In Perl it wouldn't, but on the and now it's not running your email available scenario.
Because the text says the tilde says exclude.
Yeah.
Okay. So by default everything is included, and then you can manually exclude pair tags.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Can you be explicitly include things and then leave out everything else?
Yeah, you could run only the email available test. So then if you remove the tilde, it will run only those in that category.
Okay. And I guess you can have, can you give the tags several times or?
Yes. So if you add the tags several times, it's an OR condition. And if you list multiple tags on the same line, it's an AND condition. So maybe you have whatever long-running tag, long-running as a tag, and you have email available, and maybe you want to only run the long-running email available, then you list both tags on the same tags argument, or you want both the long-running and the email available, and then you list them on separate tags invocations.
Okay.
Or at least that's how it should work. So if it doesn't, then please report about it.
Okay, we'll check that one. I mean, we can check it now quickly. So I'll have another one here. It says short. Okay.
Yep.
And then okay. And then so now I'm excluding the email, and so it runs the short. Now I including the email, and now I would also add the short. So let's see, it gives.
Yeah, no, you need another tags.
Comma.
Comma, now it won't run.
Okay, now it either this or that.
Yes.
And if I give tags, then I get neither of them.
Exactly.
Okay. It's not short. Okay. Okay. So
once your test suite grows a bit bigger, that's really practical to have.
So git status, git add another, what was the scenario? Yeah, okay. Okay, what else can we do here? We can now, okay, so now I thought, what happens if the email address that was typed in is incorrect? Okay, so let's copy paste this one now. And when type in unregistered, so this is the foo is registered as a student and unregistered is not for now.
Yeah.
So that we can also call bar, and this is easier. Okay. So when it clicks login, and then actually.
Well, you don't expect to receive one, right?
Sorry.
Then you expect to see a failure message.
Yeah, but now I just realized that in addition to have received in the email, before that I actually get a response page.
Yes.
Saying email was sent. Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
Student sees page email was sent, and this one, and then this one is student sees a page email was incorrect, and no email is sent. Is sent? Was sent?
Yeah.
Is sent? Whatever. I don't know. That's like, you see, English. I should know English better.
Exactly. Yeah. So you I'm not sure if you want to verify that no email is sent, but yeah, at least definitely it should say the incorrect part. And maybe we need to think later on at how to verify that no email is being sent.
Yeah, I had actually had somewhere I did this. So I was capturing, what I did is that, well, I wouldn't really send an email. I was mocking the email sending part. So I prepared the email, and then when I called whatever almost external function that would send the email, that was logged. And instead of sending the email, it just collected the email address and the content of the email. So, and from there, and then it parsed the email to get the code, and then use the code to verify it. So here in this case, it would be able to see that this function wasn't called.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now both of them. But the question here now is that there is a lot of duplication here. I mean, the programmer in me doesn't like this.
Yeah. Right.
But so I saw when I was looking at the examples that you can have a table if you would like to have various input values and then various expected output values. But this is sort of not the real case, because I'm not sure if it fits that idea, because one of them, I don't know, the result is sort of different.
Yes.
Or maybe you can.
So you can actually, yeah, you can. The table-driven part is great, but it works. Since the result, the page, the table's values are being interpolated in the strings in the test specification, the conditions before they're being executed. So if we would have a test which says an email is sent or no email is sent, then we could interpolate that and we could trigger the two different rules by having them triggered from a table. However, the rest of and we could also use the two types, the two emails, one related to the failure case and the other to the success case.
Yeah.
And the email was sent versus email is incorrect. We can also put that in the table. So maybe there is enough to abstract out.
Yeah, so I could see a table like this, like email and then response page, and then this is email address and then email content.
Yeah.
Okay. And then filling out these three values, because there are actually three values, but then it will be less, and it could be even the text format here.
Yeah.
So what now I'm thinking, okay, I'll just trying to rewrite it. So if I have this foo at codemaven.com, and then the response page.
Yeah.
Email was sent. Okay. Email was sent. And email content exists. Okay.
Yeah.
And then here I have bar at codemaven. .com and no email is sent, was sent, I don't know, was sent. And no, not exists. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we can somehow create a table. But
yeah. That's available.
Is there a better way than this to reuse this whole thing at the beginning?
We can use that. Yeah.
So
what we need to do that is to precede that table with a new keyword. So the table needs to be preceded by a keyword like scenario. So there's on its own line. If you need to insert a line between the last and no email was sent and yes, okay, and a little bit of indentation, and then examples, colon. And you can have, again, free text describing the examples if you want to. Yes.
Okay.
And then the table, there's only one problem with this table. It also starts at the beginning with the pipe characters and it ends with the pipe characters. So yeah, that way and at the end. Exactly. Okay.
There's no line between the header and the.
No, it's just like this.
Okay.
And we can now use, for example, email address between.
Like this?
Yes. Exactly. And if you run it, it will run the above code twice, once with full-code-maven.com and the other with bar-code-maven.com.
So this is the, no, this is the response page is not email was sent. The response page is email was incorrect. That's the response page, right? And here the response page where email was sent. Okay,
yes.
So now I can replace this one with response page.
Exactly.
And this is now
actually it's probably not email content, but email action, right?
Yeah. And then
once
the whole thing would be in
yeah.
So it's not the same text now.
No, that's unfortunate.
Well, I can I can copy this one.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
No, this is just the free text. This one. Okay. So basically now we took the two top ones and created a new one.
Yes. So you have now.
Okay. Oh, okay. Look at it.
Yeah. So now you have a lot more tests because you have the double ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we just created is called an a scenario outline, right? With the substitutions in them.
A scenario what? Sorry?
Scenario outline. So what we a scenario with examples is called a scenario outline.
Okay. So I'm going to remove these now, right?
Yes. Yes.
So what is your suggestion? Is really that this table thing is better in this case, you think, or?
Well, in this case, I would. I doubt that because there's a lot of duplicate in it, but I think there are cases where it's much more more compelling to do.
Yeah. So I comment this out now.
Yes, but actually you can have free text with the examples, and you can have multiple examples as well. So you can have groups of examples relating to a specific test case that you want to test, or you can have split up your examples in a short, and you can also tag your examples. So you can have like 2 examples for the short running test and 40 examples for the long running test.
Oh, okay.
So also we had the tags applied to the scenario, but you can also apply the tag to all scenarios in the feature by tagging the feature. So there's also a tagline allowed before the feature.
Here at the top.
Here at the top, yes.
Okay.
So
can
not
you add
before the language
tags?
line.
So can I add like here? I guess.
Well, I think it's over there. Yeah. No commas. Just listing them. Yeah, like that.
Okay. Okay, looks good.
Yeah, that's how it works. So what you can do though, if you want to remove some of the repetition, is you can use a background.
Mm-hmm.
So a background goes between the feature specification and the first scenario. And the background is basically a scenario, so you can have here some free text as well.
Okay.
And you can also have the further elaborations below, more text, like you have in this scenario right down there. And then you get to execute steps. So maybe some of the given steps can be moved to the scenario, to the background.
Mm-hmm. So, but now the given part of these is different from the given part of this one.
Yes, yes. So that's unfortunate.
So I probably need to put in a separate feature. Can I have multiple features in the same file?
No, it's one feature per file.
Okay.
There is a feature in the newer Cucumber, and there's been discussion last week to implement it in Test BDD Cucumber, and it's called the rule keyword. And the rule keyword allows its own background, and the rule keyword is basically a grouping of scenarios. So it's an additional level of indirection, and you can have multiple backgrounds that way.
Mm-hmm. If the background has a given part, and then the scenario has a given part, do they add up, or does the one override the other one?
No, they add up. So
I could move a running application here. At least I could do that.
Yes. And so the background is prepended to any scenario in the file.
Okay, so and now I would take this one and then like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So at least I can.
Exactly.
Okay. Well. Yeah, it's doing something.
Yeah, see, so it was prepending the given a running application to all of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, we're getting really close to the end of our time. Do you think that there is something urgent, any more urgent things here to do, or shall we call it a day and have it done?
Well, I think you've seen pretty much the core concepts of writing a BDD test, and you've seen the core concepts of Test BDD Cucumber on how it should be integrated in both Proof framework or your development cycle. Mm-hmm. And I think that that makes it a very nice and completed tutorial for today.
Okay.
It takes a lot of getting used to.
Yeah,
if you come from a different testing background. That's definitely my experience. So I would suggest to work with it for a while, play with it, and read up on it as well. And the more the test steps are focused at business functionality and not at technical functionality, the better you're able to, the more you get into the intent of BDD. Right.
So how much do you feel that this was technical?
Yeah, it's pretty good, actually. It's pretty good. I started out with, okay, I want to see a button on my page, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. And they were all technical aspects of the application. Mm-hmm. But the fact that it's a button is merely a design implementation. It could also be a link, or it could be any element.
Yeah.
So when it goes to web application testing, one of the steps that I really liked a lot is the concept of a page object, where the design is set to where the page document object model is basically the DOM is basically an implementation of services that the application tries to render to the user, right? And the page object is trying to articulate the services. So being able to log in is a service, and being able to log in with your email address is still a service, but clicking on a button, it's an implementation detail. And so that kind of submitting the registration information is the service, whereas clicking the button is the implementation. And that's so when you articulate it like, okay, and I submit my registration details, that's really business focused, because they don't care if it's with a button or not, right?
Yeah.
And
but they care how it looks. So maybe
I don't care how
something
it looks.
that looks like a button.
Yeah, maybe. Or as long as it's completely apparent how to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's maybe on a touch device, it's swiping. I don't know. It doesn't have to be a button.
Yeah.
And the test shouldn't change. The intent of BDD is to have tests which don't change when the implementation changes. So you want to replace a button with a link? Fine. It's the page. So I tried to put within the Ledger SMB project, we tried to put page objects between the actual execution of the test and the DOM, where the page object tries to provide the page services. So we have the DOM, and the page object knows that submit registration details is click button register.
Okay.
So that's something for maybe to think about on further iterations. But other than that, I think the tests as we articulated them now are a very good start. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. It was a great session for me, and I think we moved also the project forward. And I hope that other people who will watch this session will enjoy it. And I hope that we'll be able to continue with some of the other ideas that we raised with other sessions if you'll have time for that.
Yeah, I'd love to have another session later on. Maybe when you progress a little bit with the course registration and course management application, we can make some further steps when you get to the articulation of the further ideas, or maybe we can sit together and have a hacking session on implementing the rule keywords, so you can have multiple backgrounds in a feature file.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for hosting me.
Thank you very much. And bye-bye. And everyone watching this, please register and subscribe and like the video and whatever. And see you around. Okay. Bye-bye.
Yep. See you around. Bye-bye.